I'm not where I want to be, but I'm in what was once a dream. So if I do some quick math, the future equals a dream come true. Since 1992, In All Honesty, a podcast by OLAVEORAWO.
Hello and welcome to another episode of the In All Honesty podcast. My fabulous name is OLAVEORAWO and today in studio is a 2.0 because the only kids said it was not enough.
Definitely wasn't.
So yeah, this is definitely. I want to apologize first for bundling you up with the twins.
With the twins, but they were cool.
Me sikujua I'd even find only kids. We are in Africa.
How are you? We are a whole community. Yeah,
I did know.
Tuko.
Me, I come from a football team family, so yeah, it's a bit far-fetched for me that you are an only child.
That is what is unfamiliar to us. How do you survive?
Wild. But first of all, let's start with introductions, how you'd like to be known. We can start with Cherie.
Okay, I'm Cherie Lindsay Way. Okay.
What is this?
So that's the name. I'm Cherie Lindsay Way. I'm a creative. I don't like to bundle myself into like one creative form because I think I come in many creative forms.
Yeah.
But people on the streets know me as a producer of different types of shows, but mostly in the digital space.
Yeah.
I'm so happy to be here. An only child, not spoiled. You'll learn about that story later. And I'm so happy to be here. Thank you, Ole, for inviting me again. I have so many stories to tell, and I can't wait for how this transpires. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much. The baddest producer I've ever met, by the way.
Oh my God. Oh my God. You said it, not me. At least someone said it, not me.
Someone else said it. No, I don't treat your own horn.
Yeah.
These dudes.
Hizo lessons za Biblia. We'll be back. Kwanza episode uploadwa this week near church.
Coach to just endure kufinyiliwa.
Imagine. I'd never be proud. You can't just
say,
I'm happy to be me. No way. Let's go, Yvette.
Hi guys, my name is Yvette Wanzu. I am a lover of life. I would say I am a creative. I'm a proud mommy of one. Raising an only child. I'm an only child. I know I've been doing that for 8 years, but it's looking like I'm not going back. So I have a podcast. I'm a podcaster as well. I have a podcast called Walking with Wanzu, and basically I just talk about life experiences from my own personal journey. I like to think of it as a safe space where we come and we share and we just talk about all things life with no form of judgment. And I'm a love of life. Napenda juice, napenda waru. Vitu kama hizo.
Highly relatable on the waru. Asterisk on the waru, yeah. Like how can you not love potatoes? You can have them in so many different ways. Ikwe mashed, ikwe fries, ikwe hash browns, ikwe nini. Oh my God, warus are like elite. Yeah.
This episode is proudly sponsored by Mount Kenya. Thank you.
I thought you were being serious. I was like, you have a sponsor. Are we being paid for this?
Your bags of waru when you delivery. Naima is not supposed to eat waru the whole year. Una balance that. I'm totally pleased. Anyway, okay, thank you so much. As usual, I say I don't offer much on this episode. So if you see people here, they've literally sacrificed to be here for a good vibe. And so we're getting into the conversation of being an only child. So unlike the usual ones where we have prompts and all that, this is a 2.0. So it's basically just experiences of being an only child and how life looked like, how that has affected who you are right now, because that was the series we were on. And we realized how being a firstborn affects your life in general, like how you work, how you relate with friends in your romantic relationships. So it's the same way. I'm really eager to learn about only kids, yeah. And My first question from my very personal perspective would be, me, sometimes I usually wish I was an only child. Do you ever wish you had siblings?
Yeah, okay. I can just speak on a personal level. I do, mostly because of just having some kind of support system, because I was raised by, a single parent, and it was just me and my mom for the longest time. And I think as growing up as an only child, and in that moment, I really didn't feel like I needed I needed much. But as you grow up into adulthood, you actually realize that, there are so many things that you go through in life, very many different stages of I guess trials and tribulations, and you just wish that you had more, because I don't, I can never be called, for example, I can never be an aunt to anyone. I can never just call up my sister and be like, can I come stay at your place? Or just call my bro, we just have like a drink, we just chill out. Like it's very isolated, really. So all the connections that I've had to make, I've had to make them with friends. And, the situation with friends can be very fickle, There's no that, like, bond that I have, like, by blood with someone where I'm like, no matter what happens, I'll have, like, some kind of support system that is just guaranteed.
Even, like, blood obligations.
Blood obligations. I'm not saying that your siblings are going to offer you all the support you need, because we know, like, of course, goodness, dysfunctional homes where that doesn't happen, but I would have loved to have that option. I got to realize that when I became an adult. But when I was younger, I think mostly when I was a child, Shannon, a teenage, we're going to talk about teenage years. Gosh, having all that attention on you is really not that fun, really. But when I was a child, and I can have all the toys, and I can, and all the attention was on me, I enjoyed it. But growing up into adulthood, I wish that I did have siblings. At this point, I really wish that I had siblings. Yeah.
There's something you've mentioned before, Yvette, you go. Even me, I didn't think I had the capacity to love or miss anyone until I got a niece, like my sister's daughter. And I'm like, hey, but then we carry a Ziki. And I was just like, okay. I just thought I was made of stone. So yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah, like I would love that whole setup of, like, going to visit a niece or a nephew of mine. And okay, because I up until this point I've chosen to be child free, so I can only live vicariously through other people's children, and carry them and return them to their parents. But I can't have that experience with my own blood relatives. So that has been kind of like bummer. Not bummer sana, but like a bit of a bummer.
You think about it sometimes.
Yeah.
Excuse me. I think, did I ever wish I had siblings? Initially, no. Because it felt really good just having all the resources to myself. Especially when my mom was, of course, you all know adulting kuna pangana panda shuka. But when she was doing well financially, I was like, yeah, it's so nice to have all this to myself. No, I definitely don't want to share. And then as I got older, of course, life started happening. For instance, when I was in high school, my mom got really, really sick. And your siblings can only carry you for so long, because of course she has brothers and sisters. So at some point it was just me to shoulder most of the, like, taking care of her and all of that. And in that instance, I really wished I had a sibling, because I remember feeling a sense, and I even struggle with it now, there's like a sense of loneliness and aloneness that I feel, that I have really tried to get from other places, from romantic relationships, from friends, but there's like a loyalty and like safety that siblings bring that you can never quite get from anyone else. So in that, as I grew older, I definitely would have loved to have a sibling. I really envy when people say, this month nitafanya mother shopping, where's you umsoti, and then where's umsoti. But when you're older and you're an only child, it's like, why are you consulting with your 10 personalities? Well, it is you. And then also decision fatigue. You're just like, it would be so nice to bounce off ideas with someone, but when it's just you, And then I can also see how siblings people who grow up in a household, especially a large household like you, they have like a competitiveness comes very easily to them, because growing up there's a way they kind of, it's like you have to share resources, so you learn how to kind of fight for yourself. I feel like not having the, like at home, not having that opportunity to be like, hata mimi nataka mkate ya nyuma, so I'll kind of like fight for it. It's like iko tu hapo, you unaweza kula, if you like the hard part of the bread, utakula hiyo ya kwanza na ukule hiyo ya mwisho. So then now coming into the world, even into the working space or in school, you struggle. You feel like when people are being competitive, they are bullying you, but it's because you don't have anyone to compete with. So it's a muscle you have to start practicing and learning.
Yeah, there's like a sense of entitlement kidogo that you have that just comes.
But it should be nice.
It's natural. Like we can't help it, maze. We can't help it.
And it was all ours.
Yeah, but you see, even in the first episode, I said that's what I admire about first, like only kids, because then they grew up with the entitlement mentality. I feel like I suffer from a lot of scarcity mentality. Only kids are very confident to go. Like I've seen Cherie operate. My lord. I'm like, it could never be me. Could never be. Like ile tu utoke uende uchukue kitu.
Ni yangu.
But me, I always feel like permission has to be asked. Permission or something, if I get it, it has to be shared. No one ever thinks I just get it and go home with it. You've seen the joke where someone comes and asks you, will you take juice or soda? And you're like, you can have both, and you're completely shocked. Like, I can get so I can order both. That's what I feel is a very strong point I admire from kids who grew up alone, but I didn't think of the flip side of it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just surprised I didn't turn out to be a narcissist, honestly, because like all the roads were leading there. You know, when you're just used to all the attention being on you, and then you are pretty much the whatever it is that you want, you get. Okay, I did mention in the previous episode that my upbringing was a bit different because my mom is very strict, extremely strict, and I think that's kind of what helped ground me. I think she had like really spoiled me like kabisa, as usually what happens with only kids, especially from single moms or like a single parent household, where like all the attention is on you. I think I would have turned out very different, but because she herself had grown up in a very like kind of humble background, and she tried to raise me that way. She taught me I need to share, and she didn't give me everything that I needed or wanted all the time. So I think it kind of like just helped it really helped balance. It really helped balance. So I remember that I even mentioned how, in as much as I grew up, and I mean, we didn't grow up poor. I can't even say, we were a bit well off, I'd say. In a scenario where I told you, like, she took me to some school huko Ushago na huko hivyo Nandi, where we had to like fetch our own water for showering in a river. I'm just like, Mom, come on. Like, that is there's nothing normal. Ulibeba hata mimi nilivuna my kwanza wewe we kind of studied in the same school somehow. It's where unabeba maji unabeba ndoo kwa kichwa. But then for vacation we go to Mauritius. And then I go back to that like that river carrying school.
Like your valleys are valleys and your hills are hills.
And that was crazy for me, but I think it kind of helped me just stay grounded. I'm seeing that now, but back then I hated it, and I kind of hated her for it kidogo. Like, why are you putting me through this? Why can't you take me to like a proper, private school, where people eat sausages and eggs for breakfast and baked beans and all that stuff. I have to eat dairy every day, then go to Mauritius, then go to France for holiday. Then that was crazy for me. That was crazy for me. But now I see it. At least saizi niko I'm a bit grounded because of it.
Sema tu hiyo kitu inakusumbua.
Mami punguza volume. Anaweza watch pale penye tunamuonea.
Nini hiyo anacheza?
She can just there. You can go and watch it pale. And people and me, guys.
Parenting 101.
Yes. Check you so that you watch it as loud as you need to. Yeah. She can see that, so I can see her.
Ni cartoons.
Oh, where to Miskia? Mrs.
No, nice. Yeah.
Oh wow.
Okay. It is you.
I don't even remember the last point.
No, I was just talking about the grounding thing. I think I finished my point. Yeah.
That brings me to you who has a child.
Yes.
I was telling my friend, because she's also raising an only child.
Yeah.
And I was telling my friend, Nico triggered. If you're going to give your child a certain life, is it unfair for me to say that you should be able to maintain a whole life? Like, kama umepeleka mtoto to a good hizo shule za sausage, akaenda sijui USIU ama Strathmore, like, should you be able to maintain a lifestyle for that child so that they are never struggling with the rest of them people? Or how do you strike that balance? Because I've always felt it so unfair that my parents put me in a private school in Primo and then threw me to a public high school in secondary. Now I'm just like, what is this cold water? What is this? What is this fighting for things? Sielewi, mini baby, mini mtoto. Yeah.
How I navigate parenting personally is to be able to give my child the best, but according to the resources that I have. It's very important for me not to overstretch, go into debt, keep up appearances in the name of I'm trying to give her the best. The best for me personally is if I can afford a good school where she gets good quality education, good Christian values, because that's important to me, good values in terms of just being a good human being, and that's the best that I can do. If it goes to levels of Brabant and I can do it comfortably, I'm happy to do it. Yeah. But if it's small basic, then I am also happy to do it, but to the best of my ability. Your question was, do I feel like it's fair kumweka to a certain standard and then now put her in?
And then maybe I'm 18, you're like, okay, now you go hustle.
I've never believed that. I don't that's not how I choose to navigate my parenting journey. I've always believed, especially since I didn't get it, that mothers are like a springboard. Parents, basically. So there's a certain kind of safety they should give you in that you go out into the world, you try and do what you need to do. If the world knocks you, you come, I spring you back. You come, I spring you back. So I never want my daughter to ever feel like at a certain point, I've just thrown her to the wolves. And I'm just like, no, you can't come back here. I've done everything for you. You have everything you need. Now just go. No. Like, whether you're 60 or... Why people always... You've seen a social losing their parent and they cry. Your parent is always your parent.
Still your parent.
And they are put in this earth by God, because we're just custodians, to be able to say we're nurturing. So why would you feel like there's a certain point in life where you feel like you say, I've done my thing? It's not a job like a 9 to 5. It's forever, So if I can sustain it, I will. If I can, I don't mind my daughter being married and she comes and tells me, Mommy, responsibilities zimenitwanga this month, I don't even have money for fuel. As a mom, I will give you. Why would I not give you? I won't start telling you, but you need to manage your money well, but see, you have a husband, go and ask him for. If I have it, I will give you. Yeah, so for me, I wouldn't do it like that. If situation hainiforce in that position, I will always try and hold you up as much as I can.
I think I would follow up on that point where I think at some point through my childhood and even getting into adulthood kidogo, I felt that my mom kind of had some guilt of like maybe she's spoiling me too much, and so she would try and like balance it out by being really like, I don't know, almost militant in how she would, you know, allocate resources to me. You know, she I think alisikia tu mahali like, you know, only children unajua ukiwazoesha hivi they'll end up being bums, and I would see like she has the capability to give me what I need, but she doesn't because she's trying to teach me a lesson. And in teaching me that lesson, there's a lot of resentment that grew from me. I won't even lie to you. Like, if you know that your mom is capable and well off and you're struggling with a particular thing, as she said, why wouldn't you like help your child just because you wanna teach them a lesson, tough love kind of thing. I think this tough love, I kind of agree with it, but I think it can be a bit, it can be
tough
overdone.
Love is supposed to be gentle.
It's supposed to,
it's just firm.
like,
It's not.
Oh my God, you know, yes, you grew up going to school without shoes and whatever, and you had to trek. You know that story that they always give us, how they walked for 25 kilometers. Not really, but now times have changed. You are well capable of and I'm just only me, you know. But you want me to kind of go through a similar struggle when the circumstances are way different. Which does not make sense to me. So at some point I would just feel like, okay, you can teach me a lesson, but teach it to me in a gentle way, and then now because of that, I also now had to suffer through also scarcity mentality when I didn't really necessarily have to. I did not need to go through that. So even growing up, I remember I told you I moved out of home at 19 because I felt like, now what am I doing here? Because the fights would get extremely intense, because at that point, you know, I'm in uni. My mom is like, at this point you need to start paying for your own. I don't need to pay for anything at this time, Mom. I'm barely in university. I've literally just gotten an internship. It's paying me kidogo. And she feels like I need to start paying my way. So she would adapt a very Western way of thinking, where it would be like, you know, people in the States by 16, they're really driving their own cars, they have jobs in cafes. I can't find a job at a cafe.
See, we then go live in the States.
Literally, like people who are in their 20s and they have gone through like a course, hospitality, bado hao wengine they have been struggling to get those jobs in those cafes. So why are you comparing these two scenarios? You know, it's a whole other different ballgame here. And I think that's one thing that I told you, like now started kind of building resentment towards like just how I was being raised. And I will let you know later in the episode how now that manifested throughout my like young adult life.
I want to speak on, because I've learned that as I get older, I'm removing my mom. I'm also raised by a single mom, by the way. I'm removing my mom from her pedestal and humanizing her. As a single mom myself, and I was talking to my cousin about this last night, I was telling her, there are days I'm tired. I'm tired. As you know, first of all, you're an only child, so I talked about decision fatigue, and I'm solely a single parent. There are days you're tired. So I see why, as a mom, when your child becomes a certain age where you feel like they can do certain things for themselves, you really want to relieve yourself of that. You just feel like just do it by yourself, like but then now that's very selfish, because this person did ask to be here. You had 9 months to decide am I sitaki, but you decided and you've taken this journey full on. So there's no place to Tafika useme, I don't feel like and that's something I feel so passionately about, because I really feel like at some point in my life, my mom got so my mom is the last born. So a lot of her siblings used to be like, Akuna, sawa, I'll do it. But now when it was a point where she was left to do it all on her own, she started looking like she's overwhelmed. And I had to grow up really fast. I always tell people, I feel like I started being an adult so early. You remember when I was telling you, I wake up tired, I sleep. It's because I've been adulting for so long. True. So it's something I'm very conscious about as a parent. There will be days that you will be tired. There will be days you'll feel like I don't want to be here, but you give yourself a break, fine, but get into it. If you need to like take your child for a sleepover, if you need to have a girls night out, if you need to go for a vacation, like outsource to your mom or to a friend and then come back after a week, do it, but never lose sight of the fact that this is your responsibility and you have to ride it to the end. And then also that thing I went through it, even me nilikuwa natembea bila viatu, but that was you. This is not me. The circumstance is different. And there's a lot of peer pressure in adulting that we don't talk about. In the office, there was someone I was talking to, and they were telling me how, as they've given their firstborn responsibilities for how can your siblings be doing this and you're here. I'm just like, can we let children be children? Just because you're a firstborn, imanishi now you delegate your parenting responsibilities to your child. It's very easy for a fellow parent to feel like, that's how you parent. Even me, I'll go and do that in my house. I don't like that. I don't like that. You can take small bits and pieces of how people are parenting, but be very conscious that you're on your own journey, and your own parenting journey is very unique. And I feel like that's where sometimes in parenting, moms go wrong.
That's how I ended up in the village school. Just a conversation between moms. Like, nilienda hiyo shule na saizi ni dentist. Wacha hata mimi nipeleke mtoto wangu hapo hivyo. Not necessarily because you actually even done the research and be like, okay, this is actually a good school. It's because mtoto wa nani alipelekwa huko na sasa amekuwa successful. So acha pia mimi nipeleke. It's like,
and who said struggle is a recipe for success? I know so many rich kids who are thriving because their parents are were comfortable in the fact that I have the resources. I can give my child a head start. I can give them these resources and they'll be somewhere and they are thriving. It doesn't mean when you give your child all the good things that you can possibly provide that they'll be bums or you know.
I want to say something controversial and I hope
bring it.
As Caswell Makori says, I will categorically state this without any fear of contradiction. That a majority of single parents did not want to be parents in the first place.
Hey, the truth is really beautiful, but it's true.
Why are you shouting?
No, it's true because it's just like, okay, mtoto amefika, sawa. And they did not like that experience. It was probably a mistake or something just happened along the way and they just got. And I remember those days back in the day, especially as kids of Gen X parents or baby boomer parents, there weren't necessarily, this is going to be controversial, there weren't really that many options to, like, you see the way now we can be pro-choice.
Yeah.
That option really wasn't necessarily there back then. So you'd find like a lot of parents with only one child who they did not really necessarily want to have kind of unload their frustrations on their only children.
You are a reminder of their mistakes.
You ruined their life.
Yeah.
You ruined my life, my guy. You know, like, I'm not saying that this is necessarily the case, but I have seen it manifest through a lot of friends of mine who are only children, where, you know, the mom, okay, would raise this child. I'm not saying now. I think now parents are, I wish I was a kid of a Gen Z. Maze watu wanaishi
millennial. Are doing such a good job.
Wow, like bushu. I never even knew what it was like to be hugged, to be told I love you, and I don't know what that feels
and
like.
And choice. Autonomy at this age.
I didn't.
Do you want to go?
I didn't know that. There are certain moments personally for me as growing up where I felt like, and my mom was like, you know me, I labored for you for hours on end, and then there weren't people, of course, sending you, kama squeezy, the way when you give birth, everyone is posting you, everyone sending you congrats, everyone wants to come and see your baby. My mom told me she didn't have that support, and I think she gave birth to me, then went had to go for her graduation like a week after that or something like that. But yeah, she did labor for me. I didn't make a talk apparently, you know. But that is something that I have been reminded of every time I mess up or do something that is, you know, kinyume na desturi. Sorry, I didn't have any other way to put it. Every time nafanya kitu kinyume na desturi, nakumbushwa vile nilisukumwa, vile nimemtesa, vile sijui, you know. And I'm just like no, mazi, I'm here. Okay, there's really no. And then sometimes you want to, like, when I grew older, and I remember when I was a teenager, I really wanted to be so rude and just say some shit, but then you're just like, whoop. Because the whooping I'm going to get, if I say what I'm saying is in my head, if I just, you're so lucky, Maze. I have self-control, because if I just say what I want to say in my head right now, I used to be put on house arrest.
You too?
Yeah, like literally locked
But
in a room.
you too?
Used to be put on house arrest.
I was even, it's like how you see your friends or members of Kosha Vyombo, they're just going like for a walk or something. It's like, why? Why do you need to go for a walk? Stay in the house. Yeah, stay in the house. Why are you always chatty with the neighbors? For what?
Mine is a bit different. It is literally house arrest. You've done something wrong. You're locked in a room.
Me, it's whether I done something wrong or not. I had done something wrong or not. You just need to
You are just needed to be in the
For
house.
me, I was just locked. I was locked. Oh, house jail. I have experience. Like literally, like the Robin Island. Robin Island. Robin Island. I was just there. Safa, inside a laundry room because maybe nilifika late home. Or I just did, I don't know. I remember you've unlocked some trauma so easy. Being locked in there. And I think one of the things that I personally suffered as an only child is when your parent is frustrated, you know the way when you guys have siblings, the frustration is shared.
Yeah.
Kula frustration, everybody gets a frustration. You get a frustration. Everybody gets a frustration.
Yeah.
But when you're an only child, all of it, like when your mom is in a good mood, it's nice. And I really enjoyed so many things. I can't even sit here and say like I don't necessarily just only have complaints.
Yeah.
There's so many amazing things that I experienced growing up an only child, like, you know, being able to travel the world with my mom because she couldn't leave me behind. But then there was also another side to it where when she's going through it, I'm going through it.
But that's almost a narcissistic approach. That's the same way your man will come and beat you up today, then tomorrow buy you a necklace. He's in a good mood now.
Yeah. Like that's transfer of aggression.
Yeah.
Only goes to you, and it's when it happens, it is absolutely horrible. And I think it took a very long time for me and my mom to reconcile that. In fact, the other day she told me like, "Hey Mazi, I was so proud. I don't know, I felt sort of validated. I don't know, we were just having a conversation and she was telling me how she used to be so overworked and you know, she only thought like, you know, just working was the only thing that mattered in life, and because of that she was always constantly stressed, and she transferred some of that stress on me. She even told me I wasn't a very good person when you were, you know, when you were growing up back then. I was like, wow. You know, moments to like, you say an African parent has said that she wasn't a good person and she's sorry. Wow, I felt so validated, and I felt closer to her, honestly. I felt like I could just open up to her about like my problems and my struggles, and I was just like, wow, Mom, we are finally here where I always wanted us to be. And I was grateful. I was really grateful for that moment. Yeah, I never thought I would hear it. I was like, whoa, did you just let me not ask, because she may not ever say it again.
There's something Maya Angelou talks about. I love her so much. I wish she was my shosho. She was talking about her own mom. Actually,
That's so random.
Her videos, I'm just like, it makes so much sense.
Yeah.
So she was saying her mom acknowledged later on in her life that she wasn't a very good mother to a child, but she was an excellent mother to a young adult. You know that? So it's like, and I also see myself, I see those struggles, because for me, I can only babysit an infant mwenye hajijui kabisa, or give me like a preteen to songe. But this age, kwanza tukianza terrible 2s
the
to
foundation,
age 10, I'm just like, ew.
Yeah.
Because you know they are also learning authority, so they defy. Say go to sleep, why? Yeah, I was like, so I can see how for me, even as my child has gotten older, it's been easier to mother her than when she was younger. So there are some people who are like that. They are excellent parents to young adults, and they're not the best. And it also just goes down to your patience level. Personally, I'm not a very patient person, and motherhood hasn't changed that. But it's a muscle I've had to exercise. Yeah, so I think it also takes a lot of self-awareness. And then our moms back in the day, they were dealing with, from the moment your family discovers you're pregnant, they really drum it into your head how you've made a mistake. So even if they come back now and start pretending that your children are a blessing, this child who we've been calling mistake.
Yeah.
Sasa umezaa now we want to motivate you and tell you it's a blessing. But I've seen instances of when my mom went through any hiccup, financial hiccup, parenting crisis, they really rubbed it in her face how you did this to yourself. You know, so she was really struggling to find the joy in motherhood. When everybody around you is reminding you of how your child is a mistake, when you're there now with that child, it's very hard for you to see it as a blessing. And they didn't have the awareness to kind of compartmentalize and say, this is how I'm feeling, but this child doesn't deserve this. So I'll try and power through despite how I'm feeling. Yeah. And then they were only parenting how they saw parenting being done.
Yeah.
So it was the aggression, the talking smack, the sarcasm. You know how you can even just call your mother innocently and ask her, Mami, tunapika nini leo? Nilienda na masufuria kwa ofisi. Nilibeba sufuria kwa nikaenda nayo job. You said, where? You know. So I feel like the way, it's you can extend grace, but I feel it's so important that she acknowledged that. That acknowledging and saying, anyway, I messed up.
That 2 years
And
later.
I see that now. There's something that acknowledgement does for you. Because I was at loggerheads with my mom for the longest. Because coming into 18, I couldn't wait to turn 18 and move out. I couldn't wait.
Yeah.
There are days I even used to wake up in the morning and we don't talk.
Yeah.
We just do things in the house.
Yeah.
Taosha vyombo, I do what I need to do.
Highly relate.
And then when she discovered nimeanza kuuliza who my dad is, sasa matusi zilikuwa zinaanguka na side ya baba. Takupeleka kwa mlevi wako. You say, oh sorry mlevi. I didn't finding out. Yeah. So it's a delicate balance.
Okay, Mazebi. Like
Trigger.
Where? There's so many memories now that she's triggering, and even the way she's saying how tense it was when you were in your teenage years where you're not even talking. I had several experiences, but I'll just mention the most memorable one. I have always been a writer. I love to write. I love to journal. I loved to blog and all that, but back in the day it was just like every single day of my life I would write about it, and I would write how it felt, and I thought it was a very healthy coping mechanism for me. Being also an only child, you don't have necessarily so much companionship, so I would write those stories, and then at the end of the day I would just go and read them again and like read what I did 2 weeks ago, and it would just be entertaining to me, and I thought it was a very amazing creative outlet. So now I had this orange journal, and I used to write in my orange journal, and these thoughts that you're writing in this journal, they're so like personal to you. And I would just get into every single detail of every single thing that I've done through the day. There was a boy that I saw that I liked. If they come anyway, even when I broke my virginity, I wrote it down the way I felt, the way it was, you know. I would write it in great detail in that orange notebook. And I remember I used to hide it, or so I thought, very well. My mattress, you know the way a mattress has like okay, imagine like a Moko mattress, and this is not paid, this is not sponsored, it's not sponsored, okay? You know, like a Moko mattress, that's that outer layer, ile yenye iko tribal. Yes. So imagine that outer layer, I would cut it, hapo chini, I would cut it, and then I would slide my orange journal in between the foam and skuma it in the middle, and then like make my bed, put the sheet around it, put an in. Tell me how my mom found it. She found it. Even after me featuring it like that, she found it. So how she found it was, I had just come from school and I knocked the door. She didn't open, and then I knocked again, she didn't open, then I knocked again. I was like, when she's not home, she's home, because I could see the key from the other side. Then she comes and opens, and she just opens it ajar. And then she's like, I'm like, yeah, what's going on hapa? She's like, what's up? I'm like, can I enter? And then she's like, can you go to Yaya Center and buy for me? It just really looked like she was just guessing, like just buy. She's just trying to buy time.
Anything, yeah.
Like, go to Yaya and get me a yogurt. Natural, because they didn't sell the natural yogurt at the kiosk, so she wanted me to go and buy natural yogurt. But I peeped like this on the side, and I saw my orange notebook on the side of the couch. Na ameweka hadi bookmark, anasoma diary yangu kama anasoma novel ya Daniel Steele na Sidney Sheldon, hadi ameweka hapa ndio nimefika, wacha nikirudi nitaendelea from here. Oh my god. And it was such a conspicuous color, so I could just see like she's reading my notebook. Maze, tell me the way. I don't even know vile nimefika Yaya. Honestly, I was so distraught. That was such an invasion of privacy. So she was reading the way, and I think I had broken my virginity maybe several weeks before that, and I described it in great detail, and I had broken it just right there in the house when she was, away. You are even saying the sounds you make. Yani unaidescribe. Onomatopoeia ama zinaitwa nini? Umeandika hapo hivyo. Oh my goodness. My god. So now when I come back, ni kama tunafanya like a play by play. She's like literally asking me to explain, taking me to sijua ananipeleka kwa VCT nipime ukimwi. Ananipeleka kwa, she was like, okay, because I was just shy of turning 18. So she was like, whatever this guy did to you is illegal. Give me his number. Now I'm giving her some dude's number, and she's calling and causing. This guy is like, what the hell is even going on? She hacked into my Facebook. She DM'd like every single guy that was talking to me in the DM, telling them how I'm underage, and if I dare, not talking as me, like I was like, my mom is going crazy, she's going bizarre. Like, it's just a virginity. It's really just a virginity. It's just a hymen. It's gone. And then, so I think part of that was also probably her own trauma of, how she got pregnant and but I just felt like instead of having her done that and cause a whole panic, we could just have sat down, had a conversation. Okay, now you're having sex. Are you having protected sex? Don't shame me about sex first of all. I am a growing woman. I was bound to have sex at some point. I just felt like it could have been handled so much better. And so because of that, now again, imeingizwa house jail. First of all. The one I talked about, and then second, I've been banned from Facebook. I just had to open another account, but she was like, you're hacking me and talking to my friends, telling them how I'm underage and they're gonna go to jail. Because my friends are just like, what are you, this message mine? Or like, they're just not getting what was going on. Very embarrassing situation. At that point now I was joining USIU. I didn't have any freedom to even move between school and home. She'd have to come and pick me and make sure she's just like, if I'm not in school, I'm working. And between that period, she'd have to come and pick me. And then, now that I think about it, I was just like, that was just being you're toxically protective.
Yeah.
You have to let your children experience the world as it is, but give them the guidance that they need. Talk them through. Don't make it look like it's a mistake that they made the choices that they made. Up to now I'm just like, Kwani, I still don't believe that whole period was extremely traumatic for me. It was wild. So I talked to her about it like later. Of course, she admitted that she had gone overboard, but that was a crazy experience for me. That's just like, it's too much. And I genuinely feel like, honestly, if I had siblings, I would not have gone through that kind of experience. Because now it's got to a point where I feel like now you're just obsessing over your perfect little, what's the name of that name where he says, my precious? Is it really? Is it Star Trek? Star Wars?
I don't know.
Star Trek. My precious. My precious. You just want to like, you just like shelter me. And the sheltering really, honestly, it does more harm than good. It does more harm than good. You know, talk to your children and treat them like people who are sane. Like, one-on-one, give me the dignity at least of having to make mistakes. You know, and I don't even think it was even a mistake, honestly. That was almost kind of like slut shaming, because even at that point now, when she discovered I was having sex, me son nishakuwa malaya.
Of course.
Nishakuwa malaya sasa.
You're an African girl.
Yeah. Hey.
If you're 15, if it is street, a girl of deny it, what are you saying?
I can see how she was also operating from a point of fear, because it's just like this one thing that I really needed to protect you from. You've gone ahead and done it, and really done it.
I think it triggered that when you said she got pregnant, it triggered that, and then she just operated. You know how someone can be a shell of, you are now a zombie. You are just operating from that trauma point.
And
now
you're the fear of what will people say.
Oh, did your mom have that? What will people say?
Because I found myself on
not necessarily.
Having, when you're reprimanding your child for doing something, it's like, this is a child, they're a blank nini. They'll definitely have to make some mistakes to be able to learn between wrong and right. But sometimes you punish from a point of, sasa kama nani aliona. And you know, it's like, what will people say? It's a very, so it's, for me as a parent, I'll be like, okay, Sawa, you've lost your virginity. I can walk you through doing it safely in future when you're having sex. But also now when other parents start knowing Nani's child is sexually active, I could possibly prevent you from continuing just by virtue of watu watakuona. And it's a way of protecting you from, me, I understand you're not a slut, you're my child, and you're doing it safely. But other people don't get that.
But I don't think it comes from there. Just knowing as African parents, I think it comes from the idea. What I usually tell people is, if I weren't related to my family, they'd have never claimed me. And with the kid, they've been pointing so I think even like what you're saying, it comes from a point of their own shame. You remember when we were talking about, we forget that parents are human, and sometimes you might have a toxic parent, you genuinely have a bad parent, you have a parent who's a bad person, and for them they're doing things to protect their own reputation and not so much their child. Parents didn't have kids because they wanted to have kids, they had kids because you were told you are supposed to start a family. So children are an extension of them. So what you're doing is how you're shaming them to the world.
I like what you're saying, because when you said parents didn't have parents because they wanted kids, it's because they were told you need to have children. Can we also talk about the single moms who are constantly under pressure of being told ongeza mwingine? When you genuinely, like I personally, I know I only have the bandwidth to love on and nurture to one child. Even in the concept of a marriage, if I was to ever get married, that would be a huge deal breaker for me. I'm not trying to have more babies. I don't want to. Unless you come with yours, then there'll be two. But I'm not family. So then now you'll have them because people are telling you it's a good thing to have. And then now you're raising these people with so much resentment.
And that's why I thought when you came to the, I don't know, when you mentioned that your parents had, what is it? And Cherie's mom said, Cherie said her mom didn't have it as much. I thought maybe parents to single, like only kids parents didn't have that because the fact that they've been parents all this while for one child means that they actually swam against the gradient to be here in an African setup. So maybe that is not so much for them, and like our parents who, because they had the option of getting some other bum to be their husband and getting another child just for the society, for optics. But the fact that they raised their kids alone shows some level of just standing on their ground to some extent. But I also feel like a lot of what you're saying is also, we need a mentality shift as African people, just generally. It's very problematic. And mimi muni kujia mkitaka, but me, I'm on a mission to have as few people as possible have children before the age of maybe 30. Let's stop having kids. Let's just think for a minute. Just give it time and think. Because I'm looking, and for me, I'm angry because of that trauma being passed down. I'm saying you're doing something your parents did. This child will go and affect. And then, Yvette is doing a good job in raising her child, and then you've raised your child the way you want. Now they're going to frustrate Yvette's child in school. Think about I'm just thinking there's a whole whatever ripple effect of sorts. Like, what is that thing called? The one where you
Domino effect.
Domino. Yeah, that one.
Shit.
And then can we just for a break, think about it. Do you have the capacity? I stopped thinking about financial capacity. I just told people, do you have the mental capacity?
Let's go there.
Right now, if I'm going through what I'm going through, but let me tell you what gets me through is like, I don't have a dependent. There are days where like, you need the option to give up. You need that option.
Yes.
Do you have it?
Is it an option?
Do you have it in you to know on the day when you should schedule a giving up session?
Yes.
You can't have it. You have to attend to someone.
Yes.
Yes.
I was talking to someone the other day. We were talking about Girlfriend's Day. Aki Mungu. I'm taking to the ocean so I can find my mate. This is to do my what Girlfriend's Day. So I was telling her, no, she's in uni. You know, not now. I said now is the time. Can you imagine us in her taking you're somebody's mother? Please go and mess around with them now.
Whatever you want to do now. Yeah.
Because when there's someone else depending on you, that's not an option. It's not an option.
Also, there's something you mentioned that I wanted to just like preview, give you. What is it called? A preview into the life of people who have siblings. So when you were saying risk is spread when your mother is angry with it. It's not necessarily. I feel like my pain point mostly in my family was when that frustration came out, it came out to the least favorite child.
Yeah.
It wasn't. So you've been picked out amongst. And then when she's in a good mood, that good mood is extended to
someone
the
else,
loved child, to the favorite child. So you sit there taking the brunt of the downs and watching the happiness from a distance. So it is very wild to be picked out in a team of people than to experience it and know, okay, I'm experiencing because I'm the only one here. Kama skari imeibwa, ni Yvette juu mtoto wa hii familia peke yake. But to think skari imeibwa, but they'll come and say, kama ni Yvette, kwani Cherie ulikuwa wapi Yvette akiba? Yes. So sometimes it's traumatic in that sense. For dysfunctional families, I think the idea of siblings is a problem. Yeah, but for I think families that work well, yeah, maybe. But I feel there's a lot of dysfunctionality in African homes as the setup itself is.
I think I'm kind of happy that it's kind of shifting now. It is. Because it was a ghetto. There are so many things I enjoyed about growing up that I will never take back, like just the idea of, okay, I'll just deviate a bit from the topic a bit. Just the idea of like reading a newspaper, like pulling out a pulse and just like reading a pulse, or like, the fact that we didn't have, okay, in as much as technology is a good thing, there's so many things about how we grew up that I kind of appreciate now, the literal way in which we kind of experience things. I wanted to bring up like the idea of how growing up as a single child, how did you entertain yourself? How did you keep yourself occupied? Were you in like a community of people where you didn't really feel that you're an only child, or did you have to like just maneuver and figure out very imaginative? I had to be very creative with how to. I read so many books. I was so well read. I read magazines over and over and over, and I consume a lot of information because there's really no other option. And I think that kind of maybe translated a bit even into now my adult life, because I was so used to like just reading and consuming information, somehow it kind of made me a bit sharper, you know, because I just didn't have the option of like just playing around, because what are you going to play with? Like, okay, you have a doll and then you're going to get bored of the doll. So I would immerse myself in books. I would try and figure out different ways to entertain myself. I would try like painting. I would try all these different things, and so kind of made me a little bit, I know growing up, just like a little bit, I don't want to toot my own horn, but can I just toot it?
Smart.
Let me just toot. Just kidogo, like kind of just makes you a bit like sharper in a way.
People in the room are thick. When you see with people in the room, it's thickness.
Don't say that.
Thick.
I shall not be quoted. But I think it had an effect. It had an effect in the sense that even if I do spend time alone, I don't feel necessarily that lonely. I'm just kind of used to it, and I kind of had to devise very many different ways to, you know, entertain myself, and I don't think that has really changed much in a sense that I can be alone for months. I was even showing Sam like this guy. No one knows who Sam is. Sam is a friend of mine who is behind the scenes, and I was showing him all these different things that, you know, I do, like cooking and painting, and that is pretty much just how I grew up, having to entertain myself in that way. So there are very many things that I can do, but only because I did not have any other thing to do. That's my experience.
I think for me, having a lot of time to myself made me a deeply introspective person. When you're talking about journaling, I really related to it so much because I almost had a similar incident. There was a time when I was around class 7, I remember I was 12, and my mom lost her job. So there were a lot of financial shifts as far as what was happening, and we were almost homeless at some point. So we had to live with my shosho's friend, and I wasn't in school at the time. And I remember just reaching out so I didn't have a journal, because anyway, the finances were really doing a lot. So I would cut a paper, like I would buy a normal exercise book, and then cut the papers in a cute way, and then journal. So as I was journaling, I remember just writing also some form of like a prayer and saying, I wish life would go back to the way it was. I wish we would just find our own space, and it would just be me and mom. And my mom stumbled upon that thing, because we were sharing. So we were moving like in a backpack. So I think when she was trying to find things in the backpack, she found it. I remember her telling me, stop writing your feelings around. Do you stop doing do you have to write everything? And I don't know why I thought it was wrong to journal. So it had an effect on me, because I used to think, even if I'm going to write something down, let me write something cute. But the deep, dark thoughts that are weighing on my mind, I just carry them in my head. Because now it's like journaling in makosa. What else did I want to say? I was heading there. Now I've lost it.
Stop over that. So let me ask, in case it will trigger it.
Okay.
Now that I know both of you, and Ukweli very smart.
Yeah.
Do you also feel, by the way, when I'm smart?
You're very smart, Olive.
Yeah.
For real.
I was saying, alone made me very introspective. So I used to journal a lot, because that's one way I used to put down my feelings and kind of entertain myself. It's like I'm having a conversation with myself. But it also really made me a creative person. It made me a creative, because I used to I remember, and even now I'm very good with my hands, so I can make funny things out of weird materials. I also used to read a lot. My mom used to love Oprah magazines. So I really used to immerse myself in that kind of, like, I would read anything. I find magazines, I find novels, I find I read. So generally, even your conversations come off a bit more mature than children who are nini. And then also I was privy to a lot of adult conversations, because sometimes when the friends come to visit, I can be funny. This is what men do to people. So you're privy to a lot of maybe adult conversations. So you find in a way you kind of grow up quickly than you ordinarily would.
Speaking of adult conversation, I don't know why you just triggered another memory of when I stole a porno from my uncle.
Oh Lord. You are wacky.
As I said, I didn't have much to entertain me. As I said, I didn't have much to entertain me. And my uncle apparently had a Kwanza, it was a VHS. It wasn't even a DVD. Ilikuwa ile unaingiza kwa nini? unafinya remote ianze. So me, I found these tapes. My uncle came to visit again. Please, guys, I did not have much to entertain myself with. And I had rewatched Mr. Bean over and over, and I had rewatched Gods Must Be Crazy over and over, and rewatched. There's only so much, so many times I can watch Baby's Day Out and Miss Doubtfire. I was like, it's you know, I I'm like, what are these tapes? Now, Easy Tapes has Jaliboliwa anything. It's just like that cover. I think back then it was either Fujifilm or Kodak. Hey, Maze, the fact that I even remember that I'm old.
Yeah.
So it was either Fujifilm on my joints. So it was like a Fujifilm cover and just like blank tape. So I'm like, okay, maybe this could be a new movie that I haven't really, ever watched. So I went and took the tape and I put it inside, play. Then I went to grab myself a snack. I'm like, by the time he answered, because he answered too with like, these are porno and answer na credits. I'm like, okay. Yeah. By the time he rudi, credits zitakuwa zimeisha, then the movie. Then when I'm getting a snack, me I'm hearing claps.
A round of applause.
It is chicks being clapped. Guy. Maze, I have never been so excited in my entire. Let me tell you the way. I was like, God damn. I think the only other time I experienced or saw people having sex was when I accidentally caught my uncle and my aunt Ushago. They have so many babies. I understand why they were constantly just smashing. And I used to find them many times.
The hypersexual.
Or I'm just in the room and I'll just be quiet in a corner, and when I hear wanakulana, I'm just like, you guys not see me here?
Oh wow.
Anyway, please forgive me. Whatever, man. They are 10 children.
Most people don't get to this part. The older people don't get this far along into the episode. Don't worry.
Anyway, so I'm watching these people like really going at it, and really, so I'm just even like, oh wow, what an angle.
Yeah.
What an angle. Yeah, that's interesting. And I am so excited, and I'm like really like glued to the screen, and then I'm feeling these sensations all over my body. Yeah, I knew what they were doing, because like at that point, maybe I think I was probably class 6 or so. So I am aware.
You knew.
I did know.
I knew.
How did you not know at class 6? What's that?
I didn't know what properly vizuri, but I kind of knew.
Yeah. Me too. I was just like, I know, like, but I'd never seen like this part going into this part so graphically. Like, wow, these people are like really smashing. These guys are going at it.
You understood where smash came from.
Oh, these guys are like really, and I was glued to that thing for a while. I remember I kept repeating it over and over, and then I think that's when I started getting, I started experiencing like, these sensations of like overexcitement, like why am I like, why am I feeling some type of way, why am I getting turned on, I didn't know I was getting turned on. I was just like, my body is responding in, like a part of my body is rising. I feel a part of my body is rising. I just feel yo, nini inafanya tu ding 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 like belly lunch ndio inalia maze. Yo, ile belly inalia. The bell is ringing. It's time for lunch.
Yeah.
Hey, so I remember watching it over and over, and then I, of course, and now we give Kamajioni. I watched it way till the it was a long tape. It was like an hour. It's just a normal movie, like an hour and something.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So I watched mpaka mwisho, alafu na nairudia, and then of course there would be like those cheesy storylines that is sijui, because they would start with the trailer, which I think what inspired how I even produce shows. You have to start with a small snippet. I'm not saying it's from the porno, but that's how you do it. You start with like a small
producer.
Yeah, producer. You start with a small snippet, and then actually now there was like how it's now started. Then like a woman is like on the side of the road, and then some guys are like, "What's up? Hi, like bad storylines. Acting is terrible."
Yeah.
And then they would just end up like, you know, going ham at it. And I watched over and over, and I remember I didn't even have anyone to tell, like, yo, you can't even believe what I just watched today. Of course I can't even tell my mom, because I just knew that it was wrong what I watched. And so after that, because I had really no one to talk to about this thing, every time my uncle would visit, I'd have to just go through his bag. I want to just see another one, you know, like even just my experience with, you know, porn, not like I was addicted to it, but it was exciting. So I mean, nitakuona kama amekuja na selection ingine, you know, selector up until the time hata akona ma DVDs. So the DVDs were more graphic because they would write what exactly you're what to expect.
The widespread, and then the whole where you kind of install the thing is what is
cool.
Do you understand what I mean?
No.
They would have like a girl in her.
Oh yeah.
And then
I had no one. Maze. So no.
This part of the episode is sponsored by.
Up until the time now, my mom finally, I think I got careless one time. I stole a DVD. Now remember, this is now going past a few years.
Yeah.
And I now was like, okay, now we've even graduated. We are going from VHS to DVDs. So that's like 2-3 years after, and I stole one to just watch, because he had so many. Like my uncle had a problem, honestly. I'm not going to tell you which one. My uncle alikuwa na ma collection. So I was like, hata nikiiba moja haezi jua. And I told you about my mom's snoopy behavior. Alipata. And I was like, hey, she was so shocked, like I was reprimanded so bad. Na kaniuliza nimetoa wapi. And I told her, I stole from uncle. Insert name, I will not mention you. He has a family and kids now. I won't mention. It's just one of them. If you're my relative and watching, mind your business. So I stole. So I told her that it was Uncle Flani and Kwamini. Do you know she made me? First of all, alisema kwanza I need to learn from this. Alikataa kunipea fare. So she made me walk from home up until my uncle's house to go and return the yani gaga. Nilifika hapo nikasema I just slid it under the door and bounced. She's like, did you say so that you were sorry? I'm like, yeah, I did. And I think because it was already a very embarrassing topic, so my mom didn't even fuatilia. And I'm like, thank goodness. But up until that point, and I really wish like it was like, oh, you know, okay, now you watch this thing, this porn, like what is your meaning about it? Well, like, you know, just take me through, tell me that if these are the effects of watching, this is not right, you shouldn't be watching if you do. At least that is how I would handle it. Nisha watch. Nimewatch kwanza mingi sana. Sasa nikasema after this because now it has already piqued my interest. Now it's piqued my interest. Now I moved from there and I was like, I need to see more of this. Now enter to BD. Enter work trick.
To BD.
Now that's where supply sasa ilianza kutoka. And I just wish that maybe she would just have taken me through that. Maybe I don't know. Or maybe she would have probably taken me through it and I would still have gone to BD. And I would still have gone to work trick.
But I feel like it's okay to approach it with information.
Yeah.
Like it's okay to still do it, but now you know better.
I could have very easily gone a very, very, you know, dire path of like porn addiction. Thank God he didn't get it. It was just mostly curiosity. Hizo ma stories za parents mimi zilikuwa zinanifurahisha. I remember back then kulikuwa tuna zile tu magazines zenye zilikuwa zinafichwa chini ya Daily Nation za 10 bob zenye zilikuwa like with ngwati, like it was like porn magazines. Like literal
segment magazines. What was her name? Gertrude Mungai or something? I don't know. Those
Gertrude Mungai had I don't know if she had a magazine, maybe, but I know she used to have a program. And so I think even just growing up, I think, okay, let me just conclude this. When I started, you know, getting into video production, one of the main things that I really wanted to focus on was sex positivity, sex education, on that front. Like, okay, having conversations where people can actually have conversations about sex in a positive way. Without shaming it. So that was one of my main agendas. There are a lot of people who misinterpreted it. Even my own family misinterpreted it, thinking I'm some kind of freak. But I knew what I was doing. What I did for Zoomy, still what I did at Control Z. And I was like, okay, because of how I experienced sex and it was just thrown at me. Without me understanding what was going on. And like that had its own consequences. I wish that I had some kind of support. And I didn't get that from my parents because she already had a very, very closed-minded, way of looking at it. But so yangu imeisha ya Mangwati.
They also were not equipped. I'm guessing they were not equipped to handle such a situation
probably.
as well.
Yeah, for
and
sure.
What that knowledge and information gives when you have conversations about sex with your children, or even if it's your younger niece or whatever, when they're making a decision to do it, it comes from a place of power. There's hakuna kitu mbaya kama kufanya kitu tu juu watu wanafanya. The way I view sex now as a 31-year-old, I really wish I knew. I knew back then. Because the way I was just busy doing it for all the wrong reasons. Let's just do it because he wants to. Let's just do it because he leave me. Others are doing it, I might as well find out what it is. So misplaced. Misplaced.
And
feeling like men are taking something from you. That victim mentality.
Inject.
He took my virginity. He did to that's what he did to
And then the advanced version of it was, if your man has done something wrong, you deny him sex. We only came to learn later that sex is for you too.
Get pleasure.
You can even say the smashed him. Why?
I was listening to no-name podcast and they were complaining. And even men these days are crying that she used me.
Yeah, she used me.
Oh, that's so nice. I need to see that today.
I love it here. I love it. Yeah, you just cooler the guy and you just ghost. I'm not saying that's what I do.
Excuse me, it was over.
I'm really happy that
me out of
the equation is balanced somehow.
Also, the longest time men will just cool you because they want to. So how about you and me? I have seen you. I feel like you're good to look at. I feel like you'd be nice to smash. I'll smash you with no agenda and leave. Yes.
And then the fact that men are so cheap.
Yeah.
Like you can get men if I wanted to have sex this afternoon, I'd get a man.
Yeah.
Men that you don't have to work as much to get a chick.
It's like there's something you need to turn on and instantly it's like they're now just thinking with their nini.
Just tell a man come over. Hata utampatia chakula.
Say yes.
Yeah.
Thinking of the instances when even you as a chick you really settled for bare minimum. Umeenda hapo ama yeye anakuja kwako anakula food yako anakukula pia wewe alafu anaenda na kughost. So how about you even you start learning how to be?
It's the food that hurts.
Anakula food yako alafu anakughost. That is wild. That is wild.
Anakula food yako
anakula food yako alafu anakughost.
Alafu tena sikingine umeenda umepata mile umehili maybe kwa umefanya vibaya alafu anarudia hi and then bado tu
No, all of this was from a lot of socialization. From when we are healing, we are learning, it's okay.
We are doing better,
Now I have a question for you guys, because you said you're very introspective, very smart.
Yeah.
Do you ever get to a point, I feel like there are times, especially working in corporate, there are days I feel like I wish I was stupid. Understanding things so deeply, you don't need to have known these things the way you know. You don't need to have seen 5 steps ahead. And then you're the only person in the room who can, who sees it. Do you ever feel like, I just wish, like when you say ignorance is bliss, there are people you see genuinely. Ata angalia cabinet. Sai. Angalieni cabinet yenye umechaguliwa. People just move. Stupid.
Yeah, mad.
And the people who hurt are the smart people. And when a stupid person is doing the stupid things, it's you who understands things so well that gets so frustrated. And I'm just like, do you feel like that has affected how you work? Because I feel my, what is it called? Me, I give 0 or 100. I don't know this haphazard. There's a version of me I'll give you, especially when it comes to work.
Yeah.
Do you guys ever feel like how that translated into how you're working with people now? Now adulting.
Absolutely. Though, I don't know, for me, I don't know if I've ever been at a place where I feel like, where I wish... Okay, it's two versions. I always say, there's a saying that I say, that doesn't make sense. But there's something that I usually go by, which is trying to play the fool. So even though I know sometimes, I kind of like try and approach it from a sense that I don't know what's going to happen, so I just go with the flow. I do appreciate the fact that I'm introspective and I'm smart, because I think it's also saved me from a lot of situations, and it has also helped me get as far as I have, in my career, doing the things that I do. Though I usually still feel like it's a hell of a burden. Sometimes I just want to do nothing. Sometimes that's why I don't know who I was telling the other day, like, usually when I'm in some kind of relationship, I would prefer just not, like, I don't want to think around you.
Don't be. Because as we can tell,
I don't even know how to cross the road. Like, please leave me. Like, I don't want to have that burden of like, okay, I'm dealing with so much at work. So when I'm with my partner, I always just want to switch off my brain. Yeah. Hardly has that happened. Okay, sometimes it does happen because you can't really help it. But sazingine, because of I can see even like growing up an only child, where you just feel like ni brain yako ndio itakufikisha penye unafaa kufika, and there's nobody else around. So I've just always felt like this huge sense of responsibility for myself and for other people, because I've never really had like, I don't know, like a cushion around me where I can just be.
Yeah.
I don't know if that makes sense.
And then it also puts the responsibility of other people on your shoulder now, where people are overly reliant on you. Like everyone you meet, and it's like, prophetess, no, he showed this and this time. This was bound to happen.
Yeah.
I don't know why you didn't see it. And then now, me, I saw it coming. Now it's happened. I can't come and tell you, say I told you.
Yeah.
There's a lot of emotional labor you have to do as a smart person. That is just...
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I used to feel that way at work. And then sometimes... You can get, there are good bosses and there are bad bosses. Yeah. But the bulk of the bosses are the exploitative ones, or the exploitative ones, the ones who, oh, you're smart and you can do that, and you don't know that you need to be compensated for that. So when I learned that, I've learned to act my wage. I see the issue. I could see how it would escalate, but I know what my scope of work is. I'm going to mind my own business. I've learned how to do that.
That learning.
I've learned how to do that. I can see how sometimes it can come across as you don't want to apply yourself, you don't want to do a lot, like you can come off even lazy to some extent. But me, I will pick my battles. I'll pick my battles. I can't be making decisions and moving from that smart and knowledgeable point in my own personal life when I'm parenting, and then now nikuja nilai watu kazini. I'm not going to do it. And it took me a bit of practice to get to that point.
It takes practice.
But I do it now. I won't.
And do you feel like it ever holds you back? Because I feel like a lot of times, especially in the romance scene, I can see bullshit
I've
from
gotten
3
a lot of,
miles
you are
away.
so serious. You are too
No, like you can, I'm just like, I'm not gonna go into that. Of course, I can see what's gonna happen. I can tell you what will happen in the next 2 weeks or 5 months, and I'm just like, and sometimes I overanalyze things so much to the point where I'm not able to do this. Like, let's say I'm starting a business now.
Yes.
I've deduced like 5 occurrences that might happen, how to handle this occurrence if this happens, how to damage control this one, how to. At the end of the day, you just could never start.
The backup plan of the backup
The backup plan of the backup plan before it has to be perfect before it goes. So anyway, we are learning.
In a romantic
We're just
sense,
learning.
I've seen it a lot. I remember even my ex telling me, I really wish I knew how your brain works. And he's not told me that once or twice. He used to tell me a lot of times, because it's like, I think he used to sense that sometimes I used to dumb it down so we could gel nicely.
Thank you,
He told me, I have a stomachache. I said, hey, well, I think I ate something and it's in my stomach. I said, oh, okay, then maybe you can take some sugar and that solution and try and see if it will help. He said, yeah, I think I'll do that. And then he went out to his shenanigans over the weekend, and me, I was even that. I was really pity guys. And then Sunday evening, so now we're talking, of course, catching up. What did you do over the weekend? And he tells me, ile tumbo yangu bado inanisumbua. I'm still not feeling well. Ask him. So would you think that it would be a good idea to explore medication as an option? And then he told me, wow. I really didn't know what goes on in your head. But I'm just like, we were talking about this on Friday.
You're smart.
But I don't know what I do know. But it's these small things. Or you ask something and they yes you and you're just like, hey, is that so?
No, it's the gentleness of, see, maybe you find a medical option.
I'm like, wow, you're so smart. Guys, shit, I didn't think of that. Medication as an option. That's wild. Oh.
It happens sometimes.
Alright. Hey.
I had one who asked me kwani Raila anakuanga tribe gani? And he's loading and he's seriously asking me that.
What was
Ajui ananiuliza Raila ni tribe gani?
Wait, ni Mkenya?
Yeah. He's loading. He just can't.
Yeah, I can actually.
He was a very cute boy. Back in the day, he was very cute, but like, load nayo. Kuna load kama Windows 95. You have to start that thing 30 minutes before.
Hey. I'm guessing it's difficult. Hi, let me finish.
Yes.
Yeah.
Being an only child in your romance setting, how's that
Translated?
Yeah.
You understand?
Yeah, can I start?
Reload. Because I have things.
I'm very socially awkward. I would lie.
Okay.
I enjoy it more when it's just me and my partner, as opposed to it's him and his boys and their partners. I really struggle with. So sometimes I come off as, and I think you've ever told me that. Sometimes I give you can't sit with us energy. Sometimes people don't realize that when I'm anxious in a setting where there's a lot of people, I'm not quiet because I'm snobbish. I'm quiet because I'm overwhelmed. So I could be, hey, it's nice to see you, and then after a while it's just like, hey, can I go so it can just be me and you? So
and also like making friendships, like say if you have to make friends with your partners, girlfriend, I'm just like, no, friendships occur organically to me, so I don't know how to do this. So I struggle with that. I'm very socially awkward, and then I've also noticed that I kind of don't have. But now, thankfully, there are cousins who do that for me. I could be dragged through the mud, but I don't know what my boundaries are, because maybe I don't have siblings to prompt me and tell me, sometimes you can't stand up for yourself and you need someone to stand up for you. I don't have that kind of cushioning. I've also been in instances where maybe you're getting to know someone and you want advice on like, you want help, maybe you're telling your sibling, I'm going out on a date and I don't want to go bila cash or bila this. So sometimes you refuse because you don't have the resources and you don't have someone to give you that kind of safety net. I don't know if it's making sense. And also, in a family setup, I see how I would struggle having a partner in that
it's just been me and my mom for the longest time. So I don't know how to fit into the dynamic of yeye na familia.
The sisters,
yes,
the
and the
uncles,
sisters, and the brothers.
yeah.
And I've always found, I don't know, and I'm a woman as well. Maybe I'm not like that because I don't have brothers. I've always found sisters for your boyfriend so bitchy for no reason. Most of them come across so bitchy for no reason. So I really like dating boys who only have brothers. It's easier. It's easier for me. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Really, I would say that's how I've seen it. If I think of something else, I'd say, but yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Now for me, I think I'll start by like my personality trait and how it was affected growing up, and now how it translated to my dating life. So growing up, I was an introvert. Yeah. Absolutely, like kabisa, because my mom is super extroverted, and I think it was very overbearing for me in the sense that I didn't have space to just come into my own light. I started noticing that I'm actually extroverted when I moved shortly actually when I was in Form 4, and I would always be like the class clown. Yeah. I was like, I'm not funny. Now, when I have things to say, like that people are interested in. But then when I was around that setup of, just me and my mom, it would never come out. I think I was just in my shell for the longest time. So I was introverted. Then now when I moved out, now around uni time is when now my extrovertedness now came out, and I was like, clearly, okay, I am extroverted. I don't have a problem like socializing, interacting. I love like talking to people. I gain energy from like exuding my talking to people, and so that also translated into my dating life, where I don't really necessarily feel like I've had a problem interacting with men. I think it just comes easily to me. But then there's a part of me that I think once now I'm quite intense. Because I'm quite intense in the sense that you remember that thing I was telling you, that entitled thing where I'm used to just getting attention and a lot of it. So that kind of somehow translates into like how I experience like dating men and the people that I'm with. I want all the attention. I want all of it, and I am quite intense about it. And if I don't get it the way I feel I should get it, it becomes a problem. It becomes a problem. And I wish I was a bit more chilled out, to be honest. I just wish I was just be like, just chill out, man. Like, okay, not that I'm overly jealous or no, but I just want attention. I want so much of it. And I wish I could just be a bit, for lack of a better word, like independent within a relationship, like less codependent, when I'm in that setup.
I see that, I
like,
feel the same way,
Like people were just chilling, like, me, I want you to call me, I want, and I just wish I just didn't need that, and I would just be because when I'm on my own, it's fine, but when I'm in a relationship, I always even tell the guy, are you ready for this? Because me, I want all the attention. I will also give you the same attention. But then I think at some point, I know for a fact that I have probably scared off a few guys here and there because of how intensely like and strong I come off strong. And I think probably I don't know if it's related, but I think it is somehow related to how I just grew up. And being used to that kind of attention. So why are you not giving it to me? Now I'm not getting my mother's attention. I need to fill that void with someone else, and probably if it's someone else that probably I'm gonna be spending a lot of time with, it's probably gonna be my partner. So I'm also expecting you to give me the same attention that I did, as I was growing up. So I think somehow I'm learning to tone it down. I am, but I'm not going to tone it all the way down. Because at the end of the day, what's wrong with wanting attention? Just give it to me if you have it.
Now it's time for Wanzu.
God damn.
And there's another episode where someone said you should set expectations for your friends, and I think that should cut across. Like this idea of thinking, let's just go. Have expectations. If you are my man, there's expectations. With me, I'm the kind of person who does this and that. I like this and that. So this is the expectation you're setting for that relationship. And if they feel they can't handle it, so
I thought of another one. hyper independence, and I don't know whether you mentioned that first, because that has been a huge problem in the relationships. Hyper independence.
Oh yeah.
And learning to be okay with kufanyiwa vitu.
Yeah.
I'm really struggling.
Or even asking for it.
Or even kwanza.
Inanisumbua sana.
That really inanisumbua sana. How do you find out? I'm just like, so what?
And then you subconsciously keep count. I can keep count of what you did for me, how much money you spent,
And I'm feeling the need to reciprocate or even do more.
Yeah. I've gotten myself into so much trouble because of this hyper independence thing, my friend. You know, hyper independence from me, but for the other person. And I've noticed a lot of Kenyan guys these days what they do. Oh, unaona unajilipia. Fanya sana. Fanya sana. By the way, umenisaidia sana. Umenisaidia. There is this breed of Kenyan guys who they will just be like, once you show them that you can pay for shit, lipa sana. They're not gonna, you know. And then I think it also, you know, still, you know, growing up with single parents, it just comes from that as well. You see them just, you know, taking care of business, and you're like, wow, you know, I don't really necessarily need, and you know, I'm an independent woman who don't need no man. I am really trying to unlearn that, because there's no award or reward that you get from ati unajiona unaweza lipia kila kitu. No, you're just overburdening yourself for no reason. If you're with a partner, they should help you out. If you're with a guy who's able, he should take care of you, really, in that sense. And I have really struggled trying to let go sometimes of the reins. But I'm trying to learn from that. And hey, Mazi.
It's wild to me it's wild for me that people take advantage of that, when in real sense it's something that you offer. When I say, when I get a man, I'd like him to help me with things, or like to make my life easier. I don't know why people interpret that as being entitled to something, when in real sense your life becomes easier when you're dating me as well. Like the things I'm asking of you, I also provide. If there's something somewhere that needs to be done, Olive can do it. The same way I'm saying, if there's something that I need to do and you can come through for it, like meet me either halfway or do it for me. Make my life easy, because I'm making your life easy. I don't know why it's always a fight. Oh, you want men to
it's such a problem when you have a partner, and when you have no goals. Your first point of asking for help is your friends. There's a problem with that. Why would you be stranded and not be comfortable telling your man, I need help here? Me.
You know what I've been telling people? I've been telling people, when Olive is in a fix and ukweli hauna pa kuenda, it makes sense.
Yes.
Me, I don't understand babes who are dating and are in a fix.
Imagine.
I don't understand it.
To be me.
You have someone. Mimi nikisema ati sasa sina rent. Lisa, you go make it.
You have a reputation to uphold, because that's what you put up in the first instance. I'm independent. I never lack. So keep it up then.
And I'm thinking the first person I'd reach out to if I was in a fix right now would be my romantic partner, now that I've left my parents' house. To think that that's not the person who'll come through for me. I'm just like,
what come through agenda fuliza limited.
You're single in a relationship. As Africa now.
Ata si 500. Already zero.
I keep transacting.
Tuliza limit inafaa kufunguliwa. Mimi nilijua tu. I didn't know there was some sort of registration.
You text send like 2K urgently.
Me hata sasa hivi struggle na.
I think I've just been through the ringer.
I really struggle with telling someone.
I struggle.
It's such a struggle for me.
But now that you struggle with it, do you feel like you've put in some measures to protect yourself?
I have.
Okay.
I have. I can sense the BS from a distance. Like now I know it's okay to, because then I don't know why, how I used to approach romantic relationships is I felt like I needed to prove to you why you need to be with me.
Yeah,
I never understood that you can just love me for being like, I'm just me.
Because we were taught that men are the reward you get for being a well-behaved woman. So I think that's where it stemmed from.
So then that's what taught me to hold off. Because if I need to prove to you why you need to be with me, then we shouldn't be here in the first place.
That's true.
Yeah.
Hata wale walifanyishwa test sahii wameachana.
There we go.
Kwa haya machache na mengi tufunge podcast.
Tumekuwa leo ni why don't have
Tufunge tumalize hii podo.
Tumalize podcast. I'm so grateful to my only children.
Thank you for having us.
I'm meeting you guys in the world right now. It's very wild.
Yeah.
Also just learning how to know people. Like you're meeting new friends, you realize backgrounds are so different. You're coming together, you're gelling, you're working together. It is life. It is life.
I'm trying to say, kidogo, this was in no way, shape or form meant to kind of like feel like we are bashing our moms. They didn't really
wanted to actually say that.
I am sure if she was equipped, she could have done more, but she did the best she could with what she had.
Oh, while you're sharing this episode, share it with the series for siblings so that there's context. It's not just single kids coming here to feel entitled.
Yeah.
There's a whole series There's a whole series where firstborns explain their part, middle kids explain their part, lastborns explain their part. And me, after doing that series, I realized all of us are going through it. Extend grace. Even if you're thinking that we have the middle child, I'm going through the most. Last one, when we have a cooler shida for position, it's just a different struggle, but it's a struggle all the same. Yeah. Hiya. Thank you guys. Thank you so much, lovely women. And that brings us to the end of this is probably the last episode I'll post, and then we'll see if season 5 is happening. But that brings us to the end of the In All Honesty podcast season 4. My fabulous name is OLAVEORAWO. Until next year.
Yay.
Bye.
Do you hear that? Would you lend me some coins, please? The In All Honesty podcast needs you to continue running. I will deeply appreciate support from you. You can send monetary contributions to my Mpesa +254 728 171 059 via PayPal at OLAVEORAWO. That is OLAVEORAWO. You can support the podcast indirectly by buying merchandise and services I offer listed on my WhatsApp catalog. My WhatsApp number is +254 728 171 059. Did you think I'd forget? Advertise with the In All Honesty podcast. Hit me up to talk about it. You can do that via WhatsApp +254 728 171 059 or via email OLAVEORAWO@gmail.com, or you can also DM me on socials at OLAVEORAWO. You know, the hand that gives will receive an episode every week. I'm not where I want to be, but I'm in what was once a dream. So if I do some quick math, the future equals a dream come true. Since 1992, In All Honesty, a podcast by OLAVEORAWO.